All right, let's talk about Microsoft Excel. You know, that program that can be incredibly powerful, but let's be honest, can also be a little intimidating when you first open it up. So today, we're going to turn that blank grid into a tool you can actually start using right away.
We've all been there, right? You stare at that grid of empty boxes and just think, where do I even start? It can feel like you're at the bottom of a huge mountain, but don't you worry. We're going to build a clear path to the top, step by step, so you can navigate this thing with total confidence.
So the moment you open the program, Excel basically asks you a question. You have to make a choice. And, getting this first step right is kind of key to starting off on the right foot.
You've got two main options here. On one side, you have templates, things like pre-made budgets or project trackers, and those are awesome for getting something done fast. But if you really want to understand how Excel thinks, the best way to learn is by starting with the blank workbook. And that's exactly what we're going to do.
Okay, so we have our blank sheet. Now let's just get our bearings and decode this workspace. Once you learn the language of Excel, I promise, everything else just starts to click into place.
Look up at the very top. You'll see words like Home, Insert, Page Layout. Those are your tabs. Now, when you click on a tab, this whole big bar of tools opens up below it. That's called the ribbon. And on that ribbon, all the tools are neatly organized into little boxes called groups. So it's a simple little hierarchy. Tab, ribbon, group. Get that? And you've basically mastered the whole layout.
Now for the grid itself. The stacks that go up and down are called columns, and they're labeled with letters, A, B, C, and so on. The lines that go from side to side are called rows, and they get numbers, 1, 2, 3. This is the basic building block of every single spreadsheet you will ever see.
So what happens where a column and a row meet? You get a cell, and this is where all the magic happens. Every single cell has its own unique address, kind of like a house on a street grid. It gets its name from its column and row, so you'll have C2 or M9. This little idea is the secret to all of Excel's power.
Okay, so if one cell is powerful, what about a whole group of them? Well, we call that a range, and we define a range really simply, by its top left cell and its bottom right cell. So this whole block of cells right here would be range L7 through N12. We just write it as L7:N12. Simple as that.
All right, enough with the vocabulary lesson, right? We've got the terms down, now let's actually put it to use. We're gonna build a super simple inventory for a movie collection. It's finally time to type something in.
Now you can totally use your mouse to click around, but honestly, the keyboard is way faster once you get the hang of it. Hitting Enter moves you down one cell. If you hold Shift and hit Enter, you move up. Tab takes you to the right, and you guessed it, Shift and Tab takes you to the left. Master these 4 moves and you'll be flying around your data.
Okay, I need you to lean in for this one, because I'm about to share a tiny little detail that trips up almost every single beginner. It seems small, but understanding the difference between being on a cell and being in a cell is going to save you so much frustration. I mean it.
Here it is. When you single-click a cell, you are on it. If you start typing, you replace whatever's in there completely. But if you double-click a cell, you go in it. Now you can use your cursor to edit the text without deleting everything. So remember, 1 click to replace, 2 clicks to edit. It's a game changer.
So we've got our data in the spreadsheet, but it's a little messy. Let's take that raw information and start making it look clean, professional, and just easier to read.
So one of the first things you'll probably notice is your text is wider than the cell and it's spilling into the next one over. Don't worry, this is totally normal and the fix is super easy.
Okay, so for our movie inventory, let's make a nice clean title. We can use this great tool called Merge and Center. All you do is click on your title, then drag to select all the empty cells above your data. Then, up on that home ribbon, you just click one button, Merge and Center. And just like that, it's like Excel knocks down the walls between those cells, turns them into one big cell, and pops your title right in the middle. So clean.
Now for a couple of my favorite time-saving tricks. These are the things that will take your spreadsheet from just functional to looking really polished in just a few seconds. This right here. This is maybe the most important rule in all of Excel. You need to burn this in your brain. Before you can change anything, make it bold, change its color, resize it, you have to select it first. If you want to affect it, you must select it.
And here is that rule in action. Remember how our text was spilling over? Instead of resizing those columns one by one, just go up to the column letters, the A, B, C, and click and drag to select all of them. Then, move your mouse to the line between any 2 of those selected columns and just double-click. Bam! Instantly, every column perfectly resizes to fit its content. It's like magic.
And hey, this awesome Select to Effect trick isn't just for columns. It works exactly the same way for rows. You can select a whole bunch of row numbers and adjust all of their heights at the same time.
So let's just take a breath and look at everything you can do now. You can name all the key parts of the Excel workspace. You know how to enter and, more importantly, edit your data correctly. You can fly around with your keyboard, and you can use some really cool formatting tricks to make your work look polished and professional. You are seriously on your way.
You know, that grid of empty boxes that seemed so intimidating a few minutes ago? It's not an obstacle anymore. It's a canvas. It's a blank slate just waiting for your data, your projects, your ideas. So the only question left is, what are you going to create first?